Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about a subject that's very dear to me. It's something that's directly influenced my life, and that is the energetic enmeshment between us empaths and narcissists. And I want to say this, I don't like labels, but in order for me to explain, we have to verbally put on there. So an empath, to me, highly sensitive. We can walk into a room, feel other people's energy. The narcissist has identified with the ego, the false self. They've ignored their wounds. They've built this hard facade around them because they've never wanted to face their fears and whatever that may be. Empaths, narcissists, both stem from wounding. And, you know, aware or not, a lot of people have children, and going from a karmic age of Pisces into Aquarius, there's a reason why we're seeing so much talk and so many people sharing on the effects of the narcissist. And those that are speaking out are definitely more of the empath, the natural healers of the world, right? We've faced our wounds, and we're identifying with our authentic self as a spiritual being. The narcissist movement, man, it's not new, but all the things that have been hidden and all of the lower dark energy, meaning just fear, has been what everybody thinks is hidden. And Pluto-Saturn conjunct is the one busting that out of the water, along with Uranus, right, in Taurus, basically asking us to get back to our fundamentals of who we truly are, right? And so the dynamic of empaths and narcissists has always been there, and we're seeing more talk about it now because there's a time of going into Age of Aquarius where it's about authenticity, it's about compassion, it's about empathy for the whole. And so we're leaving behind a time when it's me thinking, and we're going into we thinking, into the Age of Aquarius. And the reason this is significant is because if you were born an empath and you didn't have an awareness of it, right? And you were born into a dynamic where the mother, mainly the mother, because she's the archetype of the nurturer, was not healed herself. She's identified with the mask instead of healing her wounds. Unknown or known, it doesn't matter, irrelevant. But when somebody wakes up, and it's usually the empath, and goes, wait a minute, energetically this has never felt right, and you've always been a compassionate person, you've always cared about the well-being of animals and the planet, you know, we're the natural healers. And so the narcissistic type people who have not faced their wounds and their fears have more identified with the mask. And energetically sensitive, if it didn't make sense to you then before you woke up, then it will now, because you look back and go, wait a minute, I felt everything these people weren't saying. I seen these people around me who, wait a minute, when we were just alone, where the narcissist will really feed off your energy as an empath, they've used manipulation with you. And then when you're out around other people, you'll find they're very gossipy about other people. They don't really talk about their real and raw emotions and anything that they've felt. They've identified with that false self so much. And so what they do is project onto you. And as an energetic sensitive, I feel we're born this. I also believe after you wake up, it's truly a gift. But the narcissist has been so accustomed to feeding off your energy, your life force energy, for so long. An unhealed empath tends to have no boundaries. When you're an awakened empath and you start empowering yourself, you realize the dynamic that's gone on for so long, and it can leave you. A lot of empaths have digestive issues because our solar plexus is where we take in our life force energy, right? And if we're around narcissistic people, to the point where it's just, we feel what they're not saying. They can wear a mask all day long, but we feel it. And so they take literally your life force energy. That's why the energy vampiring is a very real thing. And it isn't of, you know, some demonic or dark whatever. It's right in the human being's ego. So what I think what we're seeing, because there's a lot more talk about it now, I'm finding, than there was even when I woke up and realized the dynamic of being an empath. Being very truthful, very compassionate for everybody, but having zero boundaries and allowing this energetic vampiring. They're jealous of their own children. They're jealous of it. Don't even, it's, and the funny part about it is if you call them on it after you're awakened, they'll tell you that you're jealous, and it usually comes into something that's superficial, whether it be monetary or money or social status. And you're just like, whoa, what have I been hit by? So the whole thing with the energy vampiring, you know, let's just use a mother as an example. Because if you've been raised by one or two narcissists, you will literally go out into the world and have that I need to fix kind of energy going out, and the narcissist can prey on it. It's energetically going on, whether people are aware of it or not. They've identified with that mask and their false self to the point where if you awaken and start calling them out on it, they will turn demonic. And all of the energy that you felt from these narcissistic type people will come full throttle in your face, and you'll go, yeah, exactly. Keep going. They don't do boundaries because they don't, where their energy ends and yours begins, there is none of that for them. And that's why it's super important as well for an empath to have healthy boundaries once you come into this awareness going, you know, I've been living this. Another personal experience I can say is when you're one-on-one with the narcissist, being an empath, they'll be one way. And then you get around a group of people and they have a whole different facade. And you are like, wait a minute, this don't make sense. Once you are awakened, it's like, wow. Energetically, the vampiring can be from an unhealed mother who just has not identified with her whole and healthy self yet. And so she'll get that supply from her children. And she'll even go to the extremes of plotting them against each other. And they come across as very compassionate, but they're really not, like the empath is. The narcissist is always looking for energy. So you got to remember, they don't feel like we do. They've come so bonded with the body, the ego, that wherever they can get their energy, they'll get it from. You know, they might not say it, but they'll be the first ones there that if you have a sibling who's gone through destruction, you might think the mother's just going to them for compassion, right? Like a true, authentic, divine mother should. The narcissist mother loves to pick up the broken pieces of her babies. The narcissist feeds off of the children that come and coddle to her and meet her every beck and call, whether it be just sitting in her presence or doing something for her. And they love to use monetary for leverage. If you're waking up to this and you're going, you know, my mother, father, whoever it is, right, has always helped me out, whether it be financially or not, but then there was always a hook to it. I'll help you, but I'll help you with this stipulation. There's never any giving that's authentically giving. It's always to protect that mask, that her family's perfect. And she don't do well when she starts getting called out. Usually the empath is the one that finally wakes up. Or to the worst extreme is their life force energy will be taken out of them so much so that they start going into depression. Anxiety was something that I experienced all of my life, but I had no idea that I was around emotional, codependent human beings that clung to that egoic mask. They truly never give unless there's a hook. And so even if you can't see it, there's an energetic hook. What else? She will fish around for information from one child to gain gossip from another. And the reason this is very forefront for me too is, say you have 5 children, she will put on a different mask around each one. And whatever there is, kind of any juices or whatever, they tend to be in gossip a lot too, talking about people instead of talking about their authentic selves. That's a huge trait for narcissists. This can relate to all, but 9 times out of 10, if you have been into intimate relationships with a significant other, if you track that, it will usually go back to a parent that wasn't healed, that had children. And then instead of gaining her own, knowing her own life force energy, she'll seek that from her children. And she becomes enmeshed in them, meaning you have no boundaries, according to her. It can be just as simple and as respectful as giving a call to her adult children before she just drops into their house. That don't happen. And if you try to say, you know, call first, she'll throw a fit. You'll see that. So the age of Aquarius is more about we thinking. And we have a lot of support all of that way. And so you're going to see more of the narcissism and those that cling to that false identity coming to the forefront. And you'll see them starting to get really good about their temper tantrums and, you know, say you awaken and set a healthy boundary, and then the next thing you know, all of the things that you felt weren't right come into fruition, and she starts acting like a 2-year-old throwing a temper tantrum. They get enmeshed into their children to the point where there is no borders, there is no boundaries, there is no end in her. She has been energetically vampiring from her children for so long, and oftentimes she plots her children against each other in very covert ways. I had to come out and ground while I did this today because I'm healing the narcissistic wounds, and I am out of victim mode with it now. But the residual effect of it on my life has been for real, and that's the importance of us empaths being in the present. You know, calling upon God, Creator, Source, whatever it is that you pray to, that life force energy of Creator down through our crown chakra, and really bringing an awareness into our energetic body every day and our emotional body. Because when you're in it, you don't even know you're in it. It just drains your life from you. But when you wake up to it and you see the true colors of those masks that those people wear, it's heartbreaking at first, and then you'll go through all the stages of grief, like anger and, you know, even pointing the finger. And it's okay. I'm just going to remind you, it's okay. When you wake up to this dynamic and you realize that they're so fixed into that false mask of acting like the family dynamic was perfect, the true colors of their narcissism and how deep it is and how much they're not willing to sit with themselves will really come through, and they'll start projecting on you more than they've always done. They'll start gaslighting you. And the shame factor for me was huge, because as a divine feminine and needing that mother archetype, you know, that authentic love and compassion, and you've realized that you've been raised by a narcissist who's identified with the mask, it's so very painful and it's hard to heal. So go through all those things, keep releasing them. And the best thing for me emotionally, because them people were so fixed with the mask, I dealt with this all my life into relationships with males, my other counterpart, and that was because I was energetically, you know, that healer, fixer. And there's something about us energetically that we just, they're drawn to us like magnets because they know we're compassionate. They find out what bothers your heart, and then they'll later throw it in your face. They use whatever they can against you, your feelings, your compassion, your nurturing, things of the world that you don't do well with, injustices. They will, oh, and this is another one they love to do. but after everything I do for you, yeah. Yeah, you're ending that today. That's what I did. I ended up going no contact because now that I'm in a vibration of I know my authenticity, I'm transparent, I wear no mask with anybody, and I am worthy of the same in my relationships. Some people were so cling to that. Narcissists rarely change. And the reason why is because they don't think they have a problem. Everybody else has got a problem. They haven't been able to put the mirror up to their face and go, why am I throwing temper tantrums? Why am I not content sitting by myself? And that's another thing too. Empaths tend to be very content alone. And the narcissist, you'll find the traits of they like to go and they like to be in the social life and they like to marry people who have monetary things to show, you know, their stature in society. The mask and the facade is endless. Endless. So that's another thing that you'll notice with them is that us empaths tend to have our alone time. And we reflect and we purge the wounds and we heal the wounds and we just step more and more into that heart chakra of love and compassion. And the narcissists don't do that. They like to parade around, seeing who's got weak boundaries to feed off from and energetically vampire them. And that happens. And I want to say another thing before I close this up. I'm sure there's going to be many more on this, and because I'm realizing that going into the age of Aquarius, it's about a we consciousness the way it should be. The narcissistic traits, you are going to see these people that are so identified with the mask they wear, amping up. So I'm here to empower the empaths and go, I've walked it. I couldn't even sit here and share this with you today if I haven't walked it. And I'm still releasing it. That's why I'm outside grounding today. We're deep emotional beings. And when there's injustices, we feel it energetically, even if we can't make sense of it. And so it's super important for us to ground. If you're not a good human being to others, you're not an empath. If you're not a good human being to animals, you're not an empath. There's no way. And this could be as simple as getting an animal, getting rid of an animal, getting an animal, getting rid of an animal. Empaths don't do that. They form a bond. Animals and empaths go hand in hand, and they're very healing for us. So we don't dispose. Nothing's disposable to us. So I know I'm rattling a lot. I have a lot of purging and energetic stuff that I'm actually releasing again, and I've been on this journey for 5 years. My awakening happened, and then the process of unpacking has been endless, but I will say this. Keep going. It's okay for you to have the compassionate heart and the empathy that you have. It's something we're born with. It's a gift from God. We are the healers. But understand this, that forgiveness does not mean enabling other people's egoic behavior. And if it's not of love and lifting each other up in a circle, you know, that's called enabling. And that can be as simple as not having healthy boundaries. Empaths have to have healthy boundaries. We're leaving behind a lot of karmic things right now. A lot of us were born into this, didn't even know we were. It's up to us as light workers to hold yourself up into that authenticity and realize that when you're healing your wound, you're healing those that come after you. And allow the egoic narcissist to cling onto their mask and throw their temper tantrums. Walk away if you have to. I did. Was it my first choice? No. But like I said, the narcissist is so identified with the mask, and there is no boundaries to them. They become enmeshed with their children, and, you know, even in the relationships that I can look back at and go, they will do whatever they can to manipulate you and make you feel small and take your life force energy. They're very good about it. You know, whether it be the covert one that does it little nonchalantly, going to her children's house and asking little questions so she can get some information and then later gossip about it, or the overt, in your face, loud, and whatever, which way it is. Neither one of them is okay, and neither one of them is healthy. So if you step into this and you need help along the way, man, go ahead and fill in comments. I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a whole folder on my playlist on the narcissistic healing and the energetic vampiring that goes on between an empath and a narcissist, just to put labels on it. It's somebody that's in the heart space, and it's somebody that's in the mind, so much so that it's out of balance. They don't identify authentically with compassion because it's all about me thinking I need the attention, whether it be just whatever, it doesn't matter. There is no limits for a narcissist. They love to gaslight. They love to make you feel like you're the one that's flipping crazy. They'll backslide out of things that they've said. They'll change their stories when they're walking around sharing it with everybody. They're the victim, just so you know. You are never the one that was energetically preyed upon. They're the victim, and everybody else is wrong. Everybody else has got the problem. They don't have a problem. They don't self-reflect like an empath does. They self-reflect on revenge. What can I do today to stir the pot? How vindictive. And they have a mindset that we are truly jealous of them. That's the funny part about it. They literally think, and they feed off of that. So my thought is if you do go no contact, the energetic vampiring does not end. I experienced it being an empath and more intuitive now because I'm in my authenticity. I listen to my compass and my soul, my intuition, my direct connection to God more than ever. And I was starting to have dreams appear to me that were symbolically showing me the plots and the thoughts, because even thoughts are words, right? And so energetically, I was feeling this psychic vampire. After I went no contact, and so I just started really calling upon God, Creator, Source, Archangel Michael. I started sleeping with my amethyst. I mean, you don't have to do anything but call upon God and ask for that strength to end that energetic vampire. But gossip is a part of this. And if you go no contact, you're going to see the true colors of these narcissists flying out of the woodwork. And because they think that we're jealous and they can't get our life force energy, right? They can't deplete our solar plexus and our emotional, energetic body. They'll start seeking it in other places, which they do. But when they realize you're going no contact and you end that, you sever that, they become lunatics. There's so many different levels to it. And anything that is so outlandish thinking, don't think that there's no boundaries and no borders on that. So your best bet is I disconnected from all social media. I blocked phone numbers. I've went no contact. And you know what? After all I've been through and rose above all of this, I have more life force energy. I have more compassion. My heart and my intuition are just... God really does answer prayers when you do your work. And there's nobody coming down out of the sky. So everybody needs to stop blaming the freaking devil and realize that it's your own ego identifying with your false self. And that is pretty much the horns that are underneath the halo. Us empaths are sensitive to that. We can feel through the bullshit. So I'm going to end this one on here. I'll do many more on the narcissistic traits because I want every empath to be empowered, and you start walking in your authenticity and getting healthy within you, you know, you won't regret it. You'll start feeling more life force energy. You'll start feeling more passion, your sacral chakra. You'll get more rooted with your red chakra. It's all about awareness. And so I hope you enjoyed this today. I have many more on the narcissistic empath traits and the magnetism that goes on between them before you have healthy boundaries. And pretty much how to protect yourself from the gossip and all the lies that they spread about you. Words do hurt, because every thought is heard by God, Creator, Source, and the universe. Energetic vampiring is very real, and I'll help you along with this as I go. So I send this to you guys with so much love today, and take good care of yourself. Namaste.